won't give in, been through too much. I done prayed for the money, I done prayed for the fame. I done prayed that I will make a sacrifice and play this game. I done prayed that my life would never be the same. I done prayed that I will make it bring glory to my name.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the NBA Covers. Before we get started, this podcast is brought to you by Final Form Subs. Here I got the whey protein. I actually just made some shakes this morning. We also have a new collection with personal care. We got body soaps. We got mud masks. We got charcoal soaps for your face. We got shea butter for your skin. We got all kinds of things in the mix. So go to finalformsubs.com. That's SUPPS. Use promo code COACHSTRIB, all caps, no space. Get 10% off your order. Now let's get straight into it.
And it sounds like you got the one-stop shop for your supplements to smell good. He gonna come out with a cologne line soon.
Don't be surprised if candles start dropping. All kinds of things. So it has been a couple weeks since we did one because I've been traveling, unfortunately. But we're gonna go back into the Eastern Western standings. Then we'll go over some leaders real quick, and then Calvin's going to kick us off with NBA news in terms of what's been going on, what we've been seeing, highlights, lowlights, etc. So straight into it, Eastern Conference. Leading out at number one, we have the Boston Celtics moved up to the number one spot there. Then we have the Milwaukee Bucks 3 games behind the Celtics. Then we got Philadelphia 76ers at 3, 4 is the Indiana Pacers, 5 Cleveland Cavaliers, 6 New York Knicks. That's your top 6. Middle of the pack, we got Miami Heat sitting there at 7, Orlando Magic at 8, Chicago Bulls at 9, Nets at 10. And then around us up at the bottom 5, we have Atlanta Hawks at 11, Raptors at 12, Charlotte Hornets at 13, Washington Wizards at 14, Detroit Pistons sitting there at 15. Moving to the West, not too much has moved around for the top 4, but we got there sitting at number 1 is the Minnesota Timberwolves. But I do want to mention that the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Oklahoma City Thunders are sitting there tied at 27 and 11. So the next win between those two, they're going to start flipping back and forth. So we'll have to see if Timberwolves or OKC can go on a little run to take that number 1 spot. 3, we got Denver Nuggets. 4, Los Angeles Clippers. 5, Sacramento Kings. 6, New Orleans Pelicans. Now, middle of the pack, we have Dallas Mavericks at 7. Phoenix Suns at 8, Jazz at 9, Rockets at 10. Round out the bottom 5 of the West. Lakers at 11, Warriors at 12, Grizzlies at 13, Portland at 14, and the Spurs at 15. Now we're going to go over to some leaders real quick. We'll just go over the dominant stats that we're talking about. So we got Joel Embiid leading the way at 34.6 points per game. Rebounds per game, we have Sabonis at 12.7 rebounds per game. Assists per game, of course, we have Halliburton. He's been playing phenomenal this year, 12.5. Steals per game, we have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander at 2.4 blocks per game. We have Victor Wembanyama at 3.1 blocks per game. All righty, Calvin, go ahead and kick us off with NBA highlights and lowlights.
So, man, I'm going to go back to the standings and everything because my predictions have definitely changed within the last few weeks. I know that I one thing that I did say is, I'm expecting the Grizzlies in the West to, get bumped up a little bit and everything with the return with Ja. Obviously, he's out this season for a torn labrum. So I don't think they're going to be moving up too much, to be honest, with him being absent and everything, just to be completely honest with you. It's a tough hit. He was playing phenomenal when he came back and everything. Really, if you watch the games, bro, he's taking everything to the cup, bro. Layups, not settling for jumpers and everything. The man was on a mission. So It sucks to hear that and everything, but, it is what it is. They'll probably chalk it up this year and everything and try to, plan for next year and everything, just from my understandings and logic and everything like that. Dude, Timberwolves and Anthony Edwards, they've been doing something, man. They've been doing something. Anthony Edwards I feel like he's starting to make his name in the league. I feel like last year was just like a little glimpse and everything, but I think this year, man, he's really playing his ass off right now, man. And it's from just the way that he's leading the team, that he's taking difficult shots and hitting them, man. it is crazy. Another big thing I do want to talk about is the whole Draymond situation. Did you get to see the little snippet or whatever with him and Adam Silver and everything saying that he was about to call it quits?
Uh-uh. I did not see
Yeah,
that.
there was yeah, I need to send it to you in the Instagram and everything like that. But man, it was when he was going taking time off away, just trying to get himself right and everything, he was thinking to himself, he's like, man, I think I'll call it quits just because with everything that was happening, to be honest, I mean, majority of that stuff was on his part just due to his actions and everything, which,
Right.
think he took I think he took the what's the word I'm looking for? He accepted what he did and everything. He knew he was wrong, basically. And I think that's where he started thinking, like, oh, I have this bad image. Like, I have like my image right now in the league is bad right now. So is it time for me to just hang up the shoes and everything? Obviously, I feel like the Warriors season has taken an effect to that as well. I mean, they're not playing good right now. They're what are they like close to the bottom, like four from the bottom or something like
Yeah.
that?
Or
I mean,
12.
and I think it's just one of those things, just like he's like, okay, I don't really have the leverage to go to a different team because who wants me with all the stuff that I've been doing and everything the past few years? Like it's more, I feel like for a team to take him on is going to be more of a liability than a plus for the organization and everything like that. Because honestly, what other coach do you know besides Steve Kerr that can somewhat tame him? I don't know any other coach in the league that could do that without being an asshole basically of saying like, no, you're sitting your ass on the bench or you know what I'm saying? Like I just don't know any other coach that would put up with it or would want to deal with that, Like Greg Popovich, he ain't going for that, bro. He's gonna just see like, nah, just sit at the end of the bench. We'll trade you. We'll trade you sometime at the end of the season.
Right.
So is that man? And then another thing, like do you think this is the last year that Steph and Clay play together?
Ah,
I
that's
think,
tough.
dude, I think there's a really good possibility. I'm gonna say I'm in like probably like the 75-80% range right now, man. Because I mean, if they're on a short time span right now, man. I mean, they're 18 and 21. Somehow they got to fight their way back into what the eighth seed to even be a contender to even get in the playoffs. I mean, that's gonna man, that's tough. Yeah, I mean, that's tough, man. I mean, you still got to get through. The Lakers are up on you. I do see the Rockets kind of dropping a little bit. The Jazz, bro, the Jazz are a sneaky team in my opinion in the West. I mean, they have some players on there. I mean, then you got the Mavericks, you got the Suns when they get healthy, when they have their big three coming back. James Harden, the Clippers figured it out. The Kings always been up there. I'm surprised the Pelicans are playing this well right now. And then you got the three-headed monsters, the Timberwolves, the Thunder, which are playing ridiculous. And then you got the defending champs, the Nuggets. Like, I mean, it's a hard road for them right now, man, to get back into the play and everything like that. But I mean, you gotta think about it. They got to get through the Lakers and the Suns, which are two teams right now that are pretty good teams. They just don't have their full squad yet, Like they're not healthy.
Right. So let me see. How many years does Clay have left on this current contract? Do we know? Let's see.
Um, I think
Because
is a 2 year
is it
and
2 year? In 2 year, including this one or not including this
I'm looking at it right now. So I think his contract ends next season.
one?
After
If
the
it,
next season, I think. Yeah, he got a no, 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 no. Hold on.
so here's what I'll say. If his contract ends after next season, then I believe this is probably the last full season that Clay, and obviously assuming they don't figure it out and this they just not make the playoffs and they end in horrible fashion, which you hate to see. But if assuming they don't figure it out and they continue this play that they're doing, then I do think this would be the last full season. I don't know if I highly doubt they trade him before the end of the trade deadline, which is February 10th, I believe. But they did come out and say everybody is tradable except Steph. So they came out and said we're willing to trade who and whatever besides Steph. Then that included Draymond and Clay. Now, if I am the Warriors organization and I'm thinking about moving on from Clay, you don't want him to walk, right? Because you need something for him. Because let's be honest, they might not be working right now, but Clay can still go out there and give you 20, 25, every now and then get you 30, 40 points when he's hot, right? He's still an asset to a team. Right now, it's not mixing with what they have going on with the Warriors, but he's still an asset. Because of that, you want to use him to trade and get either depth, get defensive players, get whatever have you. So if his contract is up by the end of next year, that means they want to trade him while he still has value in the NBA. So yeah, I agree. I'm probably up there with you as well. I'm thinking 70%. I think there's 70% chance that maybe not even this year, this offseason, but I think before the trade deadline next year, he might end up being traded. If it does happen, I think it happens this offseason just because he's, at a good faith, they'll do in the offseason, which is a better time to be traded. But yeah, I'm right there with you about 70% that this is probably it for the Splash Brothers.
Yeah, and I hate to say it, man, too, because it's like that's the duo, man. Like that's the duo that nobody really thought that was gonna pan out. I forgot who the coach was when Clay and Steph were new into the league. I think it was it Mark? Who was the coach?
Mark Andrews, what? Not Mark Andrews. What's
Jackson?
his name?
Is it Mark
Yes,
Jackson?
I believe so.
I think. Hold on. Let me make sure because I just want to be factual on this. And nobody commented and saying, "Oh no, you were wrong."
Yeah.
Hold on one second.
While you look it up, I also do want to mention
Yeah.
that I do think that 30% chance that he stays, I think it comes down to if they can find a piece, if they can end up trading, let's say, because obviously between the big three, between Draymond, Clay, and Steph, if you're trading, you got to get rid. One of them has to go. Steph's off the table, so it's got to be Clay. It's got to be Draymond. I do think Clay's more of an asset than Draymond at this point, but Draymond is still defensively a presence. I'm not going to say where he is defensively, but he's a presence. Like even if he's very physical and he's fouling, that still is a factor when players are deciding on if they're going to go to the cup or if they take a split second to hesitate because he's a presence there defensively. If they can find a way to maybe trade Draymond some depth, or maybe not even Draymond, but if they can find a way to find a piece that can fit in there with Steph and Clay, I do think there is a small chance that Clay stays based on what they're able to pick up in the trade or free agency in the offseason if it fits. But I mean, that's such a niche, that's such a very specific piece you'd be looking for. I don't know if they find it, but
Yeah. But back to what I was saying. Yeah, Mark Jackson was the coach from
Jackson.
2011 to 2014. He came out and said that Steph Curry and Klay Thompson were going to be the best backcourt in the NBA. And a lot of people laughed at his ass just because from their physical attributes. Because when Steph came into the league, like he's a scrawny dude. Klay Thompson came in, scrawny dude. Like only thing that they were known for is shooting threes. And then as it progressed and everything, they became one of the best backcourts in the league and everything.
Right.
So I mean, man, that's speaking into existence and kind of manifesting it and everything. Because to be honest, I was like, I see what you're saying, but I don't physically see it. And then next thing you know, they got their own slogan, everybody riding the wave with them and everything like that. So,
Yep.
I mean, that's a great prediction, bro. It's funny that some people don't see it like that, but he called it. He called it. He was right. I gotta say one thing about your Knicks, bro. I think that was a good trade in trading RJ for OG, man. I think that was a good trade. I think that was a good trade for both teams, to be honest, because RJ, I felt like it's kind of like this is how I feel like. I feel like RJ Barrett and Julius Randle are very, very similar in play, just like Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, like how the way they play and everything. So I think taking RJ out, and I don't think RJ felt no ill manner too. I mean, he went back home to Canada, his home country to play. Can you really be mad at that? To be honest,
Right.
so I think it worked out best. I think RJ went back. He's more of he's getting back into his role as like a scorer and everything. Like he's now like I don't want to say the number one, but like he's definitely like the number 2 or 3 right now, paired up with Scotty Barnes and everything too as well, which that team is I feel like that team can make a run and everything once they get their core in there and everybody starts knowing how each other plays and everything. I think that can be a really good team. Athletic as hell and big too as well. If you look at their roster and everything like that. Flip side to OG coming over. I mean, he's one of a defensive presence in the league and everything. I think that complements just Julius too as well. Both dogs and everything, both play both sides of the floor. So I think that takes a lot off the defensive side for Julius, so he doesn't have to like guard the 4, the 3 that's like a score or whatever. Like you just hand that off to OG and he'll take care of what he needs to do. So
Right.
I think that's a good trade, man. I think both teams benefited from it and everything. Yeah, man. And then what else? What else?
I do want to go over the NBA MVP odds as of today. This is Fox Sports, and obviously it's betting odds favorites. And this was updated today at 8:47 a.m. Fox Sports. Right now, I just want to go over MVP odds because there are some guys that I want to talk about for the MVP odds before we close out. So number 1 is Jokic, the Joker. Obviously, he's playing phenomenal again. Number 2, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is at 2. Luka Doncic at 3. Giannis at 4. Joel Embiid at 5. Jason Tatum at 6. Anthony Edwards at 7. DeAndre Fox at 8. That's it. Does that count right? And then Devin Booker at 9. Tyrese Halliburton at 10. Now,
I'm surprised he's at 10, dude, because he's been having. I thought he would be like somewhere in like the 6, maybe, because he's been killing it, dude. I mean, for a point guard, what is it, his second or third year in the league to start averaging 12 assists, bro? That's insane. Like he's been playing hella good lately, so I'm surprised by that.
And yeah, so I agree with that. Also, I'm surprised Anthony Edwards is so low
I was about to say
because
the same thing too.
we have the number one team is the Minnesota Timberwolves, and we all know the way that Anthony Edwards is playing is he's the reason why he's the main reason why the Minnesota Timberwolves at 1. You take Anthony Edwards out, and I mean obviously Karl-Anthony Towns is still a good talent. Rudy Gobert, they figured out the Twin Tower system. But Anthony Edwards is what sets the Timberwolves apart from other teams. So it's interesting to see how I believe the market you play in is also a factor. You look at Jokic. Now Denver's not a big market, but they've become a big market because he just won MVP. They just won. They're defending champs, so they're a big market now. Obviously, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. This is what we would expect. Smaller market, but because they're tied for 1 and he's playing so well, he's at 2 because people understand that he's so valuable to that team. That's why they're tied with the Timberwolves. So I would expect that they would have Anthony Edwards higher for that same reason. But
he's leading in steals, right, Shay?
Yes, he's leading the league in steals.
I think that has a big thing. I think that has a big thing to say too in bumping up somebody's like
correct
in the rankings and everything, because like I mean he's putting up points. Like everybody that's on the MVP right now, they have to be averaging over 20. But you got a guard that's averaging what 2 point what steals? What how much was it?
2.4.
2.4 steals a game and everything. Like I mean that says a lot. Like he's inching his way into like that two-way player and everything. In my opinion, I don't really think he is, but I mean you can make the argument for it just because it's based off his stats and everything. And he's crafty as hell too, man. Like God, man's too crafty. But yeah, man, that's really all the things that I had so far. My Magic's was playing hella good. They dropped down a few spots and everything, but hopefully they can keep being that middle pack and probably like what are they, like 5th or 6th right now?
Yes.
If they can stay in that area, man, I think they'll be solid and everything like that.
They dropped down to 8.
Oh,
now, but we did say this that because they were so young, because they were third, I believe we were talking about it. We did, predict that they were probably going to drop down a little bit because it's hard to maintain that being such a young team, which is one of the reasons why Oklahoma City, like what they're doing is phenomenal because not only are they maintaining this level of play with such a young team, one of the youngest teams in the NBA. I believe they're the youngest, if I remember correctly.
They are.
But not only that they maintain, but they're actually moving up as the season progresses. Now they're tied with, they could potentially take the lead in the West if they keep playing, at this level, which I believe obviously would make sense that they have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander at number 2 for the odds. I mean, that makes sense because of what they're doing is just phenomenal. And then the only other thing I had, if I can remember, I kind of forgot it, is just so there's new rules this year with accolades and postseason awards. So Joel Embiid has missed, I forget how many total games, but if he misses 8 more games the rest of the season, he will be ineligible for All-Star and All-NBA and the postseason award. So he could potentially be disqualified from the MVP race if he misses. I believe last time I looked, it was 8 more games, but I think he's played them all since then. So that's just a thing I want us to think about as we're moving forward. Is some of these players, they can't miss too many games because you have to play a certain amount to qualify for these awards and accolades.
I think that's fair. Like regardless of like load management, like obviously you can't really do anything with injuries. Like it's just one of those things that happen. You got to deal with it. But I mean that I do like that, to be honest. You can't. It's like with work and everything, man. You can't win an award if you show up to work, only like 8 months out of the 12 months and everything. It just doesn't work like that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
I like that. It does suck for the players, but it's just like, if it's injuries, yeah, you can't really do too much. But like if it's load management, it's like, bro, get your ass off the bench and play. Like you got fans out there that are trying to see you come play and spend money. Like, come on now. So
right. And that's why I think it's just gonna be important to where instead of load management, just time manage. If you gotta
restricted minutes, something. I don't know.
Right, exactly. Like they like what they tried to do with LeBron early on, but they weren't gonna win doing that. But like you said, like if you got a 10-game away stretch and you got some back-to-backs in there, instead of having your best, you're gonna have, it's unfair. Well, it's not unfair, but it's part of the game. You're gonna have to pick and choose what games you want your star to play. And the other games, okay, here you're gonna play, but we're gonna pull your minutes back. We're gonna have you play 23, 25 minutes, and then this game is like a must win. Maybe it's a conference. It's the same conference, so it's an Eastern Conference. It's like, and then maybe you're like a game behind, and it's a close. Okay, this game we're gonna need you to. You know what I'm saying? If you do that, you won't need to load manage. So if injuries do happen and they got a swollen knee or yada yada yada, they have those games, those wiggle room games to miss, but still be eligible for postseason play. So
definitely,
it just becomes more of a chess game. But y'all heard it here on the NBA coverage with your boy Coach Strib and Coach Calvin. And we appreciate you guys for watching and listening. Anything you want to say to the pews before we hop off?
Man, it's 2024, man. Just do what you need to do. Don't settle for nothing. Don't settle for less. Do what you need to do. Reach out to the people that you need and everything like that. And the people that don't see the vision, fuck them. Keep doing
you. Go.
That's the only thing I got to say, man. It's short, sweet, and simple.
Y'all heard it here. Don't forget, ball is life. We'll catch you guys next week.